Needed an opportunity to get inside the house when he was distracted, or better yet, invited her in. She decided to hint about wanting to see his home, expressing interest in his personal space. One afternoon, Pastor Enoch, feeling increasingly bold and comfortable with Abigail, suggested she come over to his place. His wife, Sister Ada, was out of town visiting family. It was the perfect opportunity. Abigail accepted, a thrill of danger and anticipation running through her. The agency had provided her with details about the house layout, the location of the safe, hidden behind a painting in his study, and tools to open it quickly and silently. She just needed to get him distracted. She arrived at the house, a modest but comfortable place in the quiet Umuahia neighborhood. Pastor Enoch welcomed her in, looking nervous but excited. They sat and talked for a while, him showing her pictures, telling her stories. He led her on a tour of the house. When they got to the study, she saw the painting the agency had described. Her heart beat a little faster. She knew this was her chance. She admired the painting, touching the frame. "Oh, that's lovely," she said. "Did you pick it out?" Pastor Enoch began telling her the story of the painting. While he was distracted, talking animatedly, Abigail's fingers moved quickly. She located the edge of the painting, the hidden latch. With a silent click, it swung open, revealing the dark metal of a safe built into the wall. Pastor Enoch was still talking, not looking. Abigail's hand dipped into her small bag. She pulled out a small, flat device the agency had given her. It wasn't a simple combination lock, but a digital one. This device could bypass it, given a few minutes. "Excuse me," she said, interrupting him gently. "Could I maybe get a glass of water? My throat is a little dry." Pastor Enoch, still caught up in his story, nodded. "Oh, yes, of course. The kitchen is just down the hall. Let me show you." He turned to lead her out of the study. No, it's fine," she said quickly, forcing a smile. "You just keep telling me about the painting. I'll find it." He hesitated for a second, then shrugged. "All right, just through there. First door on the right." He turned back to the painting, still talking. As soon as he turned his back, Abigail sprang into action. She pressed the device against the safe's keypad. It lit up with small, blinking lights. She watched the progress bar on the device's screen, her heart pounding in her chest. Seconds felt like minutes. She could hear Pastor Enoch's voice behind her. Oblivious. The device beeped softly. Success. The safe door clicked open. Inside, on a small velvet cushion, sat a small, dark object, the hardware wallet. She snatched it quickly, slipping it into a hidden pocket inside her jacket. She then closed the safe door, making sure it clicked shut, and gently swung the painting back into place. It looked exactly as it did before. Just as she finished, Pastor Enoch turned from the painting. "So, where did you get to with that water?" he asked, a smile on his face. "Oh," she said, putting on a slightly flustered look. "I got a little lost. The house is bigger than it looks." She made her way quickly out of the study, heading towards the kitchen, her hand pressed against the spot on her jacket where the wallet was hidden. Mission accomplished. Now she just had to get out of there. She didn't stay much longer that evening. She made an excuse about feeling tired and needed to go home. Pastor Enoch seemed disappointed but understood. He drove her back to the town where she was staying. As soon as she was dropped off, she contacted the agency. The wallet was secured. Her part of the mission was complete. She was instructed to lay low, wait for further instructions, and the rest would be handled. She felt a surge of relief, mixed with the usual adrenaline rush after a job. She had done it. She had stolen $30 million worth of Bitcoin from under Pastor Enoch's nose. Pastor Enoch discovered the theft 2 days later. He went into his study to retrieve something from the safe and found it empty. His blood ran cold. The Bitcoin wallet, his hidden fortune, gone. Panic seized him. Who could have done this? Only a few people even knew he had a safe. And who would want to steal from him? His mind immediately went to the woman he had brought into his home. Abigail, the woman who looked exactly like Sister Elizabeth. It had to be her. She must have used his feelings for her to get into his house and steal the wallet. Rage boiled inside him. This wasn't just about the money, it was about the betrayal, the humiliation. He wouldn't go to the police. That would expose everything, his fake life, the stolen money, his affair. No, he would handle this his own way. He had connections, men who did things he couldn't. He made some calls. He gave them a description of Abigail, but he used the name he knew, the name from the church. He told them to find Sister Elizabeth, the chorister. He was convinced they were the same person, and that she was the thief. He told them to bring her to him quietly. Sister Elizabeth was at home, preparing for choir practice, when two large, stern-looking men knocked on her door. They said Pastor Enoch needed to see her urgently at a special meeting place. Thinking it was church business, she agreed to go with them. But the car didn't go towards the church. It drove to the outskirts of Umuahia, to an old, unfinished building, its concrete skeleton stark against the sky. Fear began to prickle at her. When they led her inside and she saw Pastor Enoch waiting for her, his face hard and angry, she knew something was terribly wrong. "Pastor? What is this? Why am I here?" she asked, her voice trembling. Pastor Enoch didn't answer directly. "Where is it, Elizabeth?" he demanded, his eyes narrowed. "Where is what? I don't understand." He stepped closer, his voice low and menacing, completely different from the warm, booming voice he used in church. "The wallet, the Bitcoin wallet. Where did you hide it?" Sister Elizabeth stared at him, utterly confused. "Wallet? Bitcoin? Pastor, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't taken anything." They didn't believe her. Pastor Enoch told his men to make her talk. What followed was a nightmare. They questioned her roughly, their voices cold and hard. When she insisted she knew nothing, they started hurting her. Slaps, kicks, cruel twists of her arm. Sister Elizabeth cried. She pleaded. She swore on everything holy that she had no idea about any wallet. But the more she denied it, the more convinced they seemed that she was lying. The uncompleted building was cold and damp, her cries echoing in the empty space. Hours passed. The beatings continued. Sister Elizabeth was weak, bruised all over, her body aching with pain. She coughed, spitting up a little blood. She had told them everything she knew, which was nothing about a wallet. She spoke about her life, the church, her family. But it didn't match the story Pastor Enoch had in his head. She was fading, the pain too much to bear. She lay on the cold concrete floor, barely conscious, truly believing she was going to die there, kidnapped and tortured by her own pastor for something she didn't do. Meanwhile, back at Pastor Enoch's house, one of his employees, a young man named Apollo who was skilled with computers and helped Enoch with some less than holy digital tasks, was doing some digging on the woman Enoch had been seeing, Abigail. Enoch had given him her number and asked him to find out everything about her. Apollo was good. He traced the number, dug through social media and search databases, and he found something surprising. He found records of a woman named Abigail, who looked exactly like Sister Elizabeth. And then he found something else, something about her past, something about her family. He called Pastor Enoch at the uncompleted building. "Boss," Apollo said, his voice hesitant, "I found something strange. The woman you were with, Abigail, she has a twin sister. They were separated when they were babies. The twins' name is Elizabeth, Sister Elizabeth from the church. A stunned silence met his words. Pastor Enoch's mind reeled. A twin sister? Identical? He had been with Abigail, thinking she was Elizabeth, and now he was torturing the real Elizabeth, thinking she was Abigail. A cold, horrifying realization washed over him. He had the wrong sister. Apollo quickly gave them Abigail's details, her last known address, information that suggested she was likely on the run. The thugs were immediately dispatched to find her. They left Sister Elizabeth, half dead on the floor, under the guard of one man, and sped off to find the twin. They found Abigail trying to make her way out of the region, likely heading for a safe house provided by the agency. They cornered her, rough-handled her, and dragged her into their car, taking her back to the uncompleted building. Abigail was brought into the cold, damp space. She was scared, unsure what was happening. Then she saw him, Pastor Enoch, his face contorted with fury. And then she saw the figure on the floor, a woman, bruised and barely moving. As they dragged her closer, her blood ran cold. It was her sister, her identical twin sister, Elizabeth. The sister she had never known, the one she had only recently learned about through the agency's brief on Enoch's life. Elizabeth looked terrible, beaten and broken. Abigail's heart twisted in her chest. Her sister, here, like this, because of her. Pastor Enoch's eyes were fixed on Abigail, a terrifying mix of anger and relief in them. He had the right one now. "Where is it, Abigail?" he growled, stepping towards her. "The wallet. Where is it?" He raised his hand, ready to strike. But just as he did, the air exploded with sound. Doors were kicked open. Men poured into the building, shouting. It was the agency. They had come for Abigail, to protect their asset and tie up loose ends. Chaotic fight erupted. Shouts, the sounds of punches and scuffles, the clash of bodies. In the confusion, Abigail saw her chance. Forgetting the agency, forgetting the wallet, all she saw was her sister. She scrambled away from the thugs holding her and rushed to Elizabeth's side. "Elizabeth! Sister!" she cried, her voice thick with tears. She knelt beside her twin, gently lifting her head. Elizabeth's eyes fluttered open, weak and unfocused. She looked at Abigail, a flicker of confusion, then perhaps recognition, in her pained gaze. "Abigail?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Yes, it's me," Abigail sobbed, holding her close. "Come on, we have to go." She tried to help Elizabeth stand, but her sister was too weak. Her body was limp, heavy. Blood stained her simple dress. "I can't," Elizabeth murmured, her breath shallow. "I'm tired." Abigail felt a cold dread seize her. The fight raged around them, a whirlwind of violence. She had to get Elizabeth out. She draped her sister's arm over her shoulder, trying to lift her, to drag her towards the door. "No, Elizabeth, stay with me. We're leaving." But as she pulled, she felt Elizabeth grow heavier, her body slackening. Her head lolled to the side. Abigail stopped, looking down at her sister's face. Elizabeth's eyes were closed. Her breathing had stopped. Abigail shook her gently. "Elizabeth? Elizabeth, open your eyes." But there was no response. Nothing. Her sister, her twin, the innocent woman she had never known, was dead. Dead in her arms in this terrible place, because of the choices Abigail had made. A wail of pure anguish tore from Abigail's throat. The pain was a physical blow, sharp and deep. Regret, heavy and suffocating, crushed her. Her sister had died for her sins, her greed, her involvement in this dangerous game. The fight was moving closer. Shouts of men, the thud of bodies. She couldn't stay here. She couldn't stay with her sister's body. It was tearing her apart, leaving her twin, but she had to survive. She had to live with this. With a last, heartbroken look at Elizabeth's still face, Abigail gently laid her head back down on the cold floor. Tears streamed down her face as she forced herself to stand, to turn her back, to run. She had to leave her sister there and escape the chaos before she was caught or killed. The memory of Elizabeth's dying face, her final whispered word, would haunt her forever. The agency's intervention had disrupted everything. In the chaos that followed, as the agency men fought Pastor Enoch's thugs, the authorities, alerted by the commotion or perhaps by another party, arrived. Pastor Enoch was caught amidst the fighting. The subsequent investigation didn't just uncover the kidnapping and torture. It unearthed a tangled web of illegal businesses, fraud, and money laundering that Pastor Enoch had been involved in for years. His fake life crumbled publicly. He was arrested and faced a long list of serious charges. Abigail managed to escape in the confusion, disappearing into the night. She got away, but she was not free. The image of her sister, half dead and then lifeless in her arms, was burned into her mind. The guilt was a constant, gnawing pain. Her sister, innocent and pure, had suffered and died because Abigail had chosen a life of crime, because she had taken that job. She had survived, but at what cost? She could never forgive herself. The $30 million Bitcoin wallet was gone, lost in the chaos of the raid, maybe recovered by the agency, maybe seized by the police, maybe gone forever. But Abigail didn't care about the money anymore. All that mattered was the sister she had found and lost in the same terrible moment. She lived with the heavy burden of her twin's death, a constant reminder of the devastation her choices had wrought on an innocent life.